Hello everybody and welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie, doing live readings this evening. Those of you guys who are joining me live, thanks for tuning in. It's July 24th, Friday night. A little bit change of our regular programming, right? Usually I am, well, yeah, it's not Friday night, it's Saturday. Usually I'm here on Friday, it's Saturday today. It's a little bit later, so maybe I'm catching some people on the live that I would not usually see. How's everybody doing? I'll give a couple minutes for the chat to update and some other things. Those of you guys who are returning members, it's nice to see you again. This week we're actually going to be taking a look at doing tarot readings. So we're doing 1 card for 20, 3 for 40. We have super chat. Also, if you check the pinned message in the chat, you can also get a link to the PayPal. If you make a purchase on PayPal, just let me know because it kind of sometimes is a little slow in updating. Also, if you have a different name on your PayPal versus your YouTube name, just be mindful. Sometimes those don't match and I'm like, who's who? So if you get a reading, let me know. Hello, Paula. You are definitely on my list of readings tonight. As is Anjali. So we'll go ahead and before we get started, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about my subscriptions. Maybe you've seen them, maybe you haven't. Now there's 3 levels that you can subscribe to my channel, support my work, getting in on the first level just to support if you are a watcher and yeah, if you appreciate my weeklies and other things that I do, support for the channel makes it possible for me to create more content because I'm hoping to create more content for you guys. Level 2, you're going to support the channel and you get a shout out. And then level 3, you get the shout out, you support me, and also you're going to be on my VIP list. You're going to get readings first during my live sessions, whether it's 1 question for astrology once a month or 1 3-card reading. That's a tarot card reading. So you'll be at the top of my list. So today we're actually going to start with Paula, and then we are going to move to you, Anjali. I see you. Hi, Tina. How's it going? So before we get started, I just want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and those of you guys who also are a part of my support levels. People like Susan Wexler, Emma R., Catherine Murray, Sam Norton, Paula, you guys make it possible for me to be able to do what I'm doing. Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate it. This can be a fun way just to like listen to other people's readings, get a vibe for how I read. If you're new to my channel, I am an evolutionary astrologer with a real focus on Western astrology and predictive astrology, synastry. I'm now getting into horary, so that's something that I'm starting to do right now. And yeah, I'm a clairvoyant and I work with tarot, so triple threat, right? So we're going to be doing live readings. So if you have a question and you want to ask it, I'm happy to help you and give some insight and pull some cards for you. Also, make sure you let me know any important information regarding your question. Ideally, you can ask it in the super chat or you can send it to me as the memo in the PayPal. If you want it to be private, just let me know, but I will give just a very general synopsis of your question for everybody who is watching at home. If you like my reading style, check out my links below, check out my social media, check out my store stuff, my other podcasts. You can check out my website, book a reading. I've got some openings left in August. I can't believe, like, where did the summer go? Crazy, crazy. It's been a very crazy year. All right, Paula, it's nice to see you in the chat. I am working with my romantic Victorian deck today. This is my favorite. This is one of the newer ones that I busted out recently. Gotta show off, you know, these are like my fancy Pokemon cards. Paula, what is your question? Let me know because I know I've got you on my list to give you a reading. And then Anjali, you are next. So let me know, Paula, what I can answer for you. There might be a little bit of a delay or a lag, so I think we will find out. Let's see. If I don't hear from you, then I will pop on over to Anjali. Oh, there she is. I cut the deck and I am getting ready to answer your question. So just let me know and I'm going to select 3. Just a general. All right. So the first card that comes up is the World, the Empress, and the Two of Cups. Interesting cards. These are two majors here, okay? So the World card is a really positive, lucky card. This card deals with completions of cycles. This is like the luck card, or the card that's associated with everything coming together in its own way. This is the last card of the majors. So if you're familiar with the tarot deck, this is where the ending and the beginning happen. Right after this, we see the Magician and the Fool kind of pop up. Actually, the Fool and then the Magician, where it's really kind of like this new beginning. So it's completions of cycles. This can also be talking about completion in terms of situations pertaining to Venus topics. You might want to look at where Venus is in your horoscope right now and what's going on with Venus, because the Empress is popping up. This can be completing travel, completing really important periods of growth, especially pertaining to self-love, self-awareness, values, right? The Empress is a representation of Venus. It can be talking about coming full circle with a situation with your mom, coming full circle with a situation pertaining to femininity, being a woman, coming of age situations that are happening that deal with kind of that growth. Like when I say the Empress, I think of like the triple goddess, where we have like the maiden, the mother, and then the crone. So this is like moving into that full moon phase for whatever reason. This particular full moon may be a little bit more action-packed for you, as it is for most people. If you guys didn't see my weekly, we have two full moons in Aquarius. One that's been taking place in this last day, and then another one that's going to happen next month. But something about these lunations or these closing of cycles are happening. So I'm wondering what this pertains to. Is it about a relationship with a woman? Is it about the relationship to your own kind of feminine side? Is there some kind of awareness that's completing? The Two of Cups is coming up, which does talk about relationship and partnership. So it can be basically saying like an opportunity to connect with something that's more fulfilling, a person that's more fulfilling, a purpose that's more fulfilling. Two of Cups, I can't help but look at this card and kind of see it as like a opportunity to connect with somebody, or like an offer. Somebody who's like, do you want to go out to dinner? Do you want to go and have drinks? Do you want to meet me at the park? Do you want to work together? So this can be some kind of a partnership that's brewing. Or that's growing, or something new that's coming to you. Regardless, cups do deal with emotional situations, so it can be talking about emotionally coming around to the idea of partnering with someone, feeling like you're seeing the bigger picture when it comes to relationships with people, and what you're giving birth to with other people. So like, is it the birth of a collaboration? Is it the birth of a relationship? Is it like an actual beginning of a relationship where you're going to be treated like a goddess or like the Empress? So for these cards to be coming up together, super positive. I do feel like this can also be an indication of like travel, because sometimes when the World card comes up, it talks about like having to go somewhere to complete something. So I'm wondering, like, are you going and visiting a woman? Or do you have family coming to visit you? Do you have a sister or an aunt, or like a mother figure, or somebody who is going to be reaching out to you, or who you've been communicating with more, who may invite you somewhere? So keep an ear out for that. If you hear that invitation, I would definitely go. This can also be about partnership pertaining to new business. You know, sometimes the Empress, when it comes up, it's that more feminine version of the Emperor. So it can be like you stepping into your personal power and realizing that you have something really abundant that you want to offer the world, and potentially the beginning of what might be a new working relationship. But emotions are involved here. So to me, this seems a little bit more relationship-y, or a little bit more in terms of your relationship with your family. But there are major cycles that are completing for you, that's really meant to bring you closer to more nurturing relationships. So super positive. Look for that to be playing out the next like 2 weeks, because the cups move pretty quickly. So let me know. And I'm interested to hear, are you just, is this a period where you're putting more focus, if you are a mother, on, you know, your role as a mother, or with your mother, or is there a lot of you working with other women? Like, really pay attention to where Venus is in your chart right now. And I think that that's going to kind of show you where there's like some new birth of something that's happening. It can just be that you're being more gentle with yourself, and you're realizing that the most important relationship you have to have is with yourself before you're able to have it from someone else. So if you're completing and closing chapters or closing doors from the past, part of that is about being sensitive and kind of like nurturing with yourself, the Empress, so that way you can see these new potential relationship dynamics come into your life. Either way, it's very positive. So hopefully that plays out for you. You'll have to let me know, or maybe that's something that's just now starting. Thank you, Elle. It's nice to see you. I'm going to get you in just a second. I'm just going to read for Anjali. Anjali had a question about romantic relationships and how it's going for her this upcoming week. So let's take a look. Welcome, Paula. Okay. Ooh, that one really wanted to come out. The Sun card. Well, what can we say? The Sun's in Leo right now. It's definitely talking about awareness, enlightenment. I mean, the Sun card is happiness, joy, pleasure, creativity, satisfaction. It's a card that deals with warmth, heat, sexuality, passion, romance, right? So for that to be coming up right now for you, I think what it's saying is, like, in the next week, really pay attention to what's being highlighted. What brings you happiness? What brings you joy? Are you dealing with a Leo? Is there some kind of more passionate, creative, fun-loving person who has recently come into your life? Have you met somebody who is younger? Is there somebody who is like more in the playful kind of playing like chase phase right now? The Sun card does say really pay attention, especially for like the next solar month. We just moved into Leo. We just had this full moon in Aquarius. So it's going to be really in the next month. I think we're going to see major fireworks because we're going to see that there is this polarity that's being highlighted actually between Leo and Aquarius, which is romance, fun, loving, dating, right? Pleasure, fun, joy, children, creativity, and then Aquarius, which is like party time. So the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to see quite a bit of just like sparks going on in relationships. It's talking specifically about where the Sun is for you right now. Cool. I mean, the other thing is on the traditional Rider-Waite, it's very similar. You see like the little kid who's on the white horse, right? And the horse is like riding and there's like sunflowers everywhere. I see this as a card that's also very much associated with Oshun. So that might be something that you want to look into. Oshun is like the one of the deities that are very similar to Venus, but she's about like sweetness and like yellow and gold and things that are bright and warm and like glowing, right? Honey and sunflowers. You may want to have more of that around you in the next month. You may wear more gold. You may wear more warmer colors. This does talk about something in regards to your personality shining and like people actually seeing you, or just being more willing to put yourself out there. So you can be in a situation where, you know, maybe now you're coming around to the idea and kind of like feeling yourself when it comes to dating and like really expecting somebody who's going to really sweep you off your feet, or you might notice that, you know, people are coming in and they are complimenting you and just noticing you more. What you can do is, you know, give offerings to Venus. I like giving like little pieces of chocolate, or sometimes I'll put flowers out, or I'll have like a little bit of honeycomb, just to work with that energy. So that might be something that's good for you. There's all different kinds of deities that are associated with Venus. It's, you know, really whichever one that you're going to be most connected to. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for correcting the spelling. But she likes yellow and bells and sweetness and all kinds of bright colored things. She really likes bells. She actually rules over sweet water, or like rivers, fresh water. So I like to do sometimes is if I have the opportunity to go to like a river, like I'll go and like leave, you know, fruit or flowers, or I'll ring bells, or I'll pour honey in the river. Those of you guys who are familiar with her, you know what I'm talking about. But work with really highlighting that energy for you. Like your energy is very strong right now. You're going to be drawing a lot of people to you. Hopefully that's helpful. Have some fun too. Go out and like actually hang out in the sun, right? That's something else I would say. Okay, so we've got Elle. Nice to see you back. Questions about your career, looking for new employment, Sag rising, Libra moon, Pisces sun. Sag rising, Pisces sun. Is your sun in your 3rd house or your 4th house? Let me know. Certainly if you have that Sag rising, all of the planets moving through or getting ready to move through Virgo are really good. You know, Venus is in Virgo right now, so in theory it's moving into your career zone. The Mars transit soon will move into Virgo from Leo. So Mars and Venus through your 10th house can have you very busy. You want to look, especially like mid-August going into September, as it starts to trine Pluto. It can really build more work, or it can build more wealth for you as a Sag rising, because that's your second house of income. Let's see. Third, okay. So let's see what you need to know about work stuff. Two of Pentacles, Five of Wands, Queen of Cups reversed. To me, this makes me feel like there can be a sense of duality, like there can be more than one opportunity, more than one thing you're weighing, kind of like I could do this or I could do that. And what it's kind of saying is that you might kind of juggle both. So it can juggle like taking one thing on until you decide to take something else that you feel like is going to be more fulfilling. You know, working two jobs or kind of doing two things at one time. It kind of makes sense to me also, you know, if your sun is in the third house, Jupiter is still in Pisces briefly. So you're going to see like a lot more running around for you at work next year, or just like a lot more of like you having to work and commuting somewhere, or you having to apply more technology to do the job that you're doing. It just depends on what you're in. But Two of Pentacles says like you're kind of in this like weighing out the options, almost feeling like there's too much work that might be coming. And so be mindful of like whatever potential positions you accept, especially if it feels like really overwhelming, or that the schedule is too much, or you're trying to do one and then there's another and you're like, how do I do both? Five of Wands also talks about like not feeling like you have to push the river, right? Five of Wands, I see it as where all of the energy is going in a direction and you're just kind of hitting a wall and you're getting frustrated. This can also be talking about, because the next card is Six of Wands, is something that's victorious. So you're pushing through something right now, or you're pushing through some kind of challenge or obstacle. Maybe you go through several rounds of interviews. Maybe you go through several kind of trial and error periods in regards to a new position. I am more concerned about how this might be affecting you emotionally, right? You know, where your horoscope is right now and some of your transits, it would be really great for you to like have an opportunity to go on a short distance trip. Being that all of these planets in your 10th house are really saying like there's a lot of work that's coming up. If you haven't been able to do that recently, I encourage you in maybe like November might be a good time when planets go into Scorpio for you to still take a step back. Right now it is about work, and I think that you're going to have probably too much going on, or you having to juggle two things probably for about 2 months. The Queen of Cups reversed is really telling me that you can be getting emotionally frazzled, or you can be getting frustrated because something's not kind of coming together the way that you want it to come together. I'm wondering, like, are you in the process of applying for things? Have you applied for things? Are you getting frustrated with how long it's taking for people to get back to you? What type of work are you in? Especially with Jupiter. I mean, Jupiter loves being in Pisces. Technically, they consider that the original ruler of Pisces. Being that you're in your Jupiter return, or excuse me, your Jupiter sun transit, really you're going to see that come the new year, you're doing something more consistently. There's a lot more communication, or like I said, a lot more third house stuff. So I'm wondering what it is that you do for work, and if it is possible for you to do some kind of work that might be remote or by phone or computer, because that kind of makes sense when I think about your chart, or if it's something that gives you the opportunity to travel, or maybe even transcribe things. You might have the ability to do like more document editing, writing, stuff that's online. So I'm interested to hear what you do. Hey, Allison, nice to see you. Hey, Grizzlogic. Yeah, a lot of people are, it's funny. It's like there are some people who say like, oh, Venus has a more challenging time when it's in Virgo. So Venus in Virgo, because it's not the easiest place to have it. It can be really great for like service. It can be really great for getting work done. It can be really great for health matters. So depending on how it aspects your chart. I'm in finance. I went through a 5-round interview and didn't receive the role. Yeah, so there you go. So it's kind of like, you getting agitated because you feel like you're going round and round and it's taking too much time. Look for either two positions or another position that's going to come through that I feel like you may have to still go through 2 rounds, but it may be more positive. It's really not letting this emotionally affect you, right? Because that Queen of Cups reversed is like getting frazzled and feeling kind of like, why is this happening? And it's interesting that you say you went through 5 rounds and didn't receive the role. So did you put off other job offers for this job? Were you kind of spinning your wheels, or like kind of like trying to put that particular job as like an emphasis, and then you're bummed out because you didn't get it? Because 5 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles is like, man, I like gave up other possibilities for that, or I put all my eggs in that basket. Really what it's saying is like, you know, as you move forward, you're not going to do that again. And I would look for change within about 2 months. It's almost impossible as a Sag rising for you to have Mars and Venus go through your 10th house and make the aspects that it's going to make to Uranus that's in Taurus, and also to Pluto that's in your 2nd house. I would almost go as far as saying, I almost guarantee you're going to get a better job. I almost guarantee it's going to be something that you're going to be like, this pays better, or there's better hours, or, you know, it's a bigger bank, or something like that's going to happen. So I just want you to take that into consideration. And one thing I'd also say is Jupiter is your chart ruler. So being that Jupiter is coming into your 3rd house and it's going to hit your sun, that makes me wonder, like, do you benefit from knowing or learning more, being more aware of what's going on with global finance? Are you going to start getting involved in trading or things that have to do with international markets? Is your job somehow going to be affected in a positive manner by some of the world economic changes? And do you need some continuing education to some extent? It doesn't have to be formal, in order for you to be on the up and up with what's going on, right? So just kind of food for thought. Like, a lot of that stuff kind of comes up in your chart, and you know, because the sun in your chart really does deal with your career, a Jupiter transit's going to be great. I just feel like you're going to be working with people who might be different. They might be creatives. These can also be people who have a lot of income, or clients that you're working with who have a lot of income from creative stuff, or stuff that deals with travel and finance, or financing cars, financing vehicles, financing or getting a job, even working, it sounds crazy, trying to apply for major like airlines, right? If they're looking for accountants or people who are going to manage finances for the major airlines, because I think like Jupiter travel, 3rd house, it could also be for like a major car company. So that's possible. So you'll have to let me know, but I think it's going to be a better move for you, to be really honest with you. I think that just don't let this emotionally kind of get you out of whack. And I don't see you having to do another 5 rounds. I think you're going to do something where there's going to be 2, okay? But money will come. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay, got a couple other people. What do I need to know for my next chapter in life? How do you pronounce this? Yuzavidi Thompson? Sorry, I probably butchered that. Hey, Allison, I got you. I'll get you next. What do I need to know for the next chapter in my life? That's a good question. Let's see. That one wanted to come out with that one. Guess I should have done this the other way around, huh? There we go. That's the order that these came in. There we go. Wow. Well, King of Wands reversed, Ace of Pentacles, Knight of Cups reversed. To me, it seems like there can be, first of all, there's a new beginning because the Ace is coming up. Ace of Pentacles, physical changes, health changes for the better, financial changes and opportunities, getting more stable, things that are shifting in your physical world or in an earthly sense. King of Wands reversed makes me feel like it can either be some aspect of your personality or somebody that you're dealing with recently where there can be some conflict over values and whether or not you guys have the same values, or it can be you kind of going back and forth with yourself, weighing the options and trying to determine whether or not you still value the same relationships, the same people, the same job, the same financial situation that you once did. You know, King of Wands reverse traditionally can be like a man who's a fire sign, who's, you know, really kind of ornery and frustrated and feeling creatively blocked, or, you know, like not knowing how to use his energy or his masculinity in a positive way. So if it's not you that's kind of at odds with yourself about whether or not you still feel the passion or whether or not you still feel creatively kind of thrilled, it can be about you kind of having a dead end with a person. Now, Ace of Pentacles tells me that there isn't going to be physical change yet. a lot of it depends on you connecting the dots and going like, okay, does this person, does this situation bring me happiness? Like, does it feel good? Am I holding on to things for the wrong reasons? Am I holding on to somebody because I don't want to be alone? Am I staying in the relationship because, you know, we have financial ties? Am I staying at the job because it pays well? Things like that can be coming up right now. And I want you to pay more so attention to your emotions, because with the Knight of Cups reversed, this can also be like, you know, you not feeling the love in a situation. It can also be like you feeling like your heart's not in something any longer. There can be this feeling of like somebody who made false promises, or somebody who like promised they were going to give you the world, and then you kind of realize like, wait a second, you know, it was all there at one point, but it's not there so much anymore. Like I'm kind of losing that luster in terms of that connection to a person or thing. Knight of Cups reverse can be a water sign male, so it can be like a man who comes in, but usually when I see a knight coming up with a king, it's more so kind of relating to like what the relationship is. So I'm wondering, are you going back and forth on whether or not you want to stay in a relationship or in a job? Is that something that's happening? Are you finding that you're kind of at odds with somebody because you're realizing that your values don't match any longer? And that's kind of like bumming you out and creating some challenges for you to like really emotionally connect to somebody if you don't feel valued or if you don't feel safe. Being that the Ace of Pentacles is coming up, it is talking about paying attention to what happens when you make your way closer into like Virgo season or like the Earth seasons. Usually this is a whole year. So I don't know if this is saying like you're going to give something a year, it's been a year of evaluation, or you're giving it till the end of this year. But something about Virgo or Capricorn season can be like really important kind of turning points time-wise. I'm also wondering like if this is a situation where you're finding it hard to physically connect with someone because you're feeling like emotionally, you know, they're not giving you their all, or they're holding back. So that's something else that I would pay attention to. If these are not actual people that you're having these encounters with, I would say it's a really good time to be evaluating whether or not your heart is in something that you're doing that's meant to bring you security. So whether it's a job, a relationship, whatever. Give it about a month to let this kind of marinate, sit on this and see what comes of it. Usually these two we can flip upside. So it is kind of saying like with time or actual motivation, like movement to change, it is very possible that you can maintain this relationship, job, whatever, but you need other people to kind of work with you. It's not so much about you, it's more about them. Hopefully that's helpful. Thanks, Lori. I appreciate it. Sag, Sun, Leo, Moon, and Rising. You're fierce. That's a lot of fire, girl. All right, Allison. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I see you, Lori. Can you pull and see what's up with my lover? We seem to have a close than a space pattern. You think you come around exclusively. I'm not betting on it, but we seem to be getting closer. Let's see. Ooh. You got two cards. We've got the Lovers and the Knight of Pentacles. So funny when the deck does that. The Lovers, yeah, it's funny. You were like, my lover. And this can literally be like a slow burn, right? The Knight of Pentacles. So knights are dedicated to their cause. They get on their horse, they ride into battle. They don't always stay. They're not always the most consistent. But if you're going to pull a knight, you got to pull a Knight of Pentacles, because the Knight of Pentacles is somebody who is going to be a little bit more stable. They can have like a little bit more of like an earthiness to them. It can also be about, there's like a growing together through the physical connection. The Lovers can be about sex. It can be about passion, but you know, the Knight of Pentacles is a little slow. He's a little more cautious. This can be like energy, even though they're in Aries, there can be like a lot of energy of like Virgo or Taurus or Capricorn in their chart. That's mature, right? So the Knight of Pentacles says like, yeah, he's coming around. Like he may come around more consistently, especially over the next 6 weeks, but it can also be alluding to another person. And notice there's 2 men and 2 women. So it can be saying like, okay, there's options, there's other people might be around. There may be an earth sign that's around you that's kind of like interested in like, hey, what's going on? What's up? And you're like, I'm busy with my lover over here. Don't overlook what else is around you is what I would say. And don't also get upset because you feel like you're being impatient and that he's not coming around enough. How he will make time for you is being like, let me take you out, or, you know, I'm working tonight, but let me see you afterwards. Like, let's get together. Like, somebody, even in spite of like really hustling and like grinding, is willing to make time for you or is willing to give you something physically. I also feel like with the Lovers card, it's talking about options and choices. And so I do feel strongly that part of what's building is he's getting the impression, or he's starting to feel like you're realizing like, oh, he's not in it. So if you were to flip the script a little bit and be like, okay, cool, I'm hanging out with other people, I do feel like you'll see him kind of come in a little bit more. I'm not saying that to make him jealous, but letting him know that like you're keeping your options open too. It's not necessarily just you waiting around to hear from him. Somebody else may come in and they may want to kind of get your attention or kind of keep you busy. And they seem to have like a lot of either like Virgo, Pisces-esque stuff in their chart. Like, you know, it could be that, it can be some Gemini, but there's definitely going to be somebody else who shows up that's going to try to get your attention. But still connecting with him physically, I think is good, because these two cards seem to think that there's been a growing period of the closeness or the intimacy or the booty calls or whatever that have been really happening since like June. So if you look at the progress that you've made June, July, now that we're getting ready to come into August, like, yeah, you guys are actually growing together a little bit more. You'll have to let me know if somebody else pops up. Especially this is usually like a Virgo or a Taurus or a Capricorn. I see more Virgo with Knight of Pentacles, so you have to let me know. Thanks, Lori. I got you. Thanks, Amber. I will be with you. You're on deck. I'm going to read for Lori first. Hey, J-Lo. Nice to see you. Power struggles at work. I'm over it. Just put out applications out of state. Will it work out? Is leaving New York the right thing to do? Let's see what's up. Lori, remind me, what's your rising sign? What's your sun, moon, rising? You're welcome, Allison. All right, let's see. For Lori, questions about applications, moving out of state. Ooh, girl. I feel like that. Have you guys seen that Whoopi Goldberg meme where it's got oracle cards and it's got tarot cards, and how like the oracle cards are like fluffing it, and then the tarot cards are like, you're in danger, girl. I kind of feel like I just had that situation. I would say take a breather. What these cards seem to be telling me is that, like, yes, you're fed up, but you don't want to get fed up and make a decision impulsively. Like, really hear me on this. Sag, Sun, Leo, Moon, and Rising. Okay, so understand this. First of all, Sagittarius don't take shit from anybody. I understand. But part of what's going on is, like, there's a lot of things out of Sagittarius' control right now because the eclipses and the South Node are still in Sag. So you're feeling like this loss of control, right? Or this loss of power or whatever. You've also got planets on your ascendant right now that are lighting you up, and it's opposing Saturn in your 7th, so that screams conflict, and it's squaring Uranus in the 10th house, which screams conflict. Sometimes conflict needs to be had, right? And I can see with a chart like that there is conflict that needs to be had, but just take it easy, especially like the first 10 days of August. Trust me on this, like, you'll pop off. I also say this because Ace of Wands is coming up reversed. So it's saying, like, almost in a way, this is like a false start, right? So you're like trying to light a match, or you're trying to start a fire, or you're trying to find a new job. And when this comes up reversed, it's saying, like, because you're rushing, because you're impulsive, because you're angry, because you want out, you rushing to make that decision right now is not the best move. Personally, if you're, you know, a Leo rising, probably moving is going to be something that's going to be a lot more so possibly in the works like October, November. As you have planets going through your 3rd and your 4th house, there will be a retrograde that will be happening in that 3rd house, which is really having you discuss and talk about whether or not you can move. I would really encourage you to wait if you can. 10 of Swords is saying, like, endings. It's like, I'm done, I'm walking away. So I do get the impression that, yeah, you are fed up with work, and it is inevitable that you're going to leave. But before you rush into taking a job because you want to leave, or rush into taking a job because you just want to be done with this job, really think this through, but plan it out. because it seems to think that if you were to rush into this and you were to make this decision or make this ending, there can be some disappointment. So I could see you being like, okay, whatever job shows up, I just got to get out of here. I want to relocate. It's got to pay this and that. As long as it has these things, I'm good. But you may move and kind of realize that then you've moved into a situation that can be disappointing. Four of Cups. You also might be disappointed because you feel as if your employer is not like appreciating you, and when you start saying things like I'm going to leave, or when you're telling them that you're looking for a job, or even if you give notice, you might kind of feel like you're upset because you're not getting a reaction out of them, or maybe you thought that leaving or discussing leaving will make them kind of like realize that something is not being kind of run the best way at work. Unfortunately, unfortunately, with Uranus where it is in your 10th house, you know, the truth is like there's not really a lot you can do. If you're having problems at work now, my guess is that you're going to continue to keep having those problems because it's really highlighting that you need to free yourself from work situations that aren't giving you freedom or things that just aren't working. And also Saturn in your 7th house is about relationships. So equally, it's about not just work, but relationships, right, Leo? So if you're having an issue, Leo rising, if you're having an issue, you know, emotionally dealing with people at work, it's trying to push you out of that environment. I also feel like there can just be like this feeling of being overlooked or not appreciated, or Four of Cups can talk a lot about, you know, feeling like you're not seeing the glass half full. So one thing I would also say is like this kind of puts things in perspective, and it says, yeah, you may not be totally happy with where you're working, but you have a job. And don't lose sight of the fact that you have work, because things could be much worse, and you could be without a job, or you could be in a much, you know, kind of shittier situation in terms of where you're working. I would encourage you to at least wait until the end of Leo season to make any big decisions. I also feel that with these planets, like I said, that are moving into Virgo, it's really good because it's funneling into your 2nd house. So it's going to give you an opportunity really between now and September to find a better paying job or something that's going to give you what you want. And you can really use that retrograde in October to really determine whether or not it's a good idea for you to move. What's nice is that there's going to be trines happening between Saturn and also the North Node will still be in Gemini. So I kind of feel like it's more than just work, it's also relationships. And there's a piece of the puzzle that either you're not seeing or you're not aware of, where something about your relationships, whether, you know, you're realizing like this is all on me, like I'm always taking care of myself, I don't ever feel like I have the support of a partner, it'd be really nice if I had someone to help me through this tough time. It's meant to make you realize that. Equally, if you're in a relationship and you're super stressed out and you're fed up with work and you feel like you have no options and you're like, well, where's my partner in this? It's meant to be like, okay, well, what's going on with your relationships? So don't miss out on that 7th house aspect with your transits right now. Better support from work, better support from friends, better support from a romantic relationship. You know, traditionally your 7th house is marriage. The truth is also is that Aquarius is friends, and your 10th house is Taurus with Uranus. You're not really at work to make friends. Like that's not going to work so well in the next year, just so you know. Also, there's a Venus retrograde that's going to be taking place in your 6th house. So kind of part of me feels inclined to tell you, go and look back in time when there was another Venus retrograde in Capricorn. I think it was in what was it? It was 2014, I want to say. It was either 2013 or 2014. There was a Venus retrograde in your 6th. I wondered, did you have a job change then? Because that could have happened. Certainly, that's a really important time to pay attention where like work things can shift. There can be lots of shifts going on with departments or with funding, especially pertaining to where you're working. So, you know, if the writing's on the wall that things are already going south, like I would encourage you, depending on what's going on in your chart, to definitely make a change before the end of the year. But I think that in the immediate month, you're gonna be hot. You're gonna be people will be pissing you off, and you're gonna pop off. So you know, don't do anything too crazy right now. I know that my Leo risings are really having a challenging time. I'm sorry to hear that you're going through that, but I also feel like everything is happening to kind of show you that if you're not feeling supported, then it's time for you to go. And some of these things may not change. I know you know this, but I'm just letting you know. But you can spin that Ace of Wands around. It can be using this as motivation to basically be like, I'm so fed up by how I'm being treated that I'm out. Like there's no coming back. So it's actually giving you the courage to move forward, right? Hopefully that's helpful. I see that we have Amber here. trying to decide whether to go back to school or go back to work or go all in with art and try to sell some pieces. Taurus Sun, Cancer Moon, Sag Rising. A lot of similarities here. I hope you were listening to what I was just saying. All right. So, Cancer Moon, Taurus Sun. So you're responding to the Jupiter in Pisces. You're responding very strongly to Uranus in Taurus, making aspects to your moon. Sag Rising. I mean, when I think Sag Rising, I think like go big or go home, right? Because you think about Jupiter rules your chart, especially when you're talking about art or creativity. You know, your second house ruled by Capricorn is supposed to be big. And Jupiter's going into your third. So going big with art would be like, are you selling it at local, you know, artist kind of showings or local galleries? Are you creating websites? Are you putting your art online? These are things I want you to think about because you would really have to expand your social media, which you totally could. You can do that. Nine of Swords tells me that there's so much anxiety around the situation right now that you don't know which direction to go in. Do you mind me asking how old you are or your birth year, so I can just think of your annual perfection? So I can give you a little bit more insight. I mean, yeah, it's literally just what's holding you back from making some of these decisions emotionally. Knowing what I know about your chart, I feel like with Uranus going into your 6th house and doing its thing in Taurus, this is more about you being in a situation where you need more freedom, you need more art in your day-to-day routine. It's like, do I go and do that crazy thing where I start, you know, painting and selling my work and doing that stuff? Like, yeah, all or nothing. I feel like that's a really good time to do it. You know, Tauruses are being rewarded for taking the jump and doing something that's unconventional this year and next year, especially if it's getting close to your sun, because the sun is about what is creative and what you want to put out there and like what you produce. Oh, okay, 89. So you're in you're 32, so you're in your 9th house year. So annual perfections every year is going to get highlighted. If you're having a 9th house, you want to look at the ruler of your 9th house and watch and pay attention to when things are happening there. So when planets are going through your 9th house. But it's about higher education. I do see a lot of people make the decision that year to take a course, teach a course, to go back to school, to get a degree, to get a license, especially when I think of like a Taurus is like 9th house, or a Sag rising is usually like Leo. It depends on the degrees of the cusps in your rising sign. But if it is Leo, it's literally learning more about art, but it can be self-taught. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go back to school. There might be finding a happy medium where you start kind of doing like technical training and things that really enhance what you're already doing, and trying to kind of teach you newer techniques for the art that you're creating and like really putting it out into the world. So I would encourage you to do that. I just feel like emotionally there are some setbacks that are going on right now, and I kind of feel like these cards are saying that you're having so much anxiety revolving around making a decision with what your heart really wants that like you're just perpetually delaying this. Like if you ask yourself like, do I want to make art or do I want to go back to school? The obvious answer is going to be that you're having anxiety over the fact that you know what you would really like to do is something more creative, but you don't know how. Use that 9th house year, especially because you're not going to have your you're not having your birthday until the end of the year, so you've got another like 5 or 6 months for you to enroll in a program. Next year when you're turning 33, it'll be a 10th house year, so that's going to be really cool for you because it's going to put a huge emphasis on your career, and it's going to open everything up, and that's where Uranus is. So I say do it. I just feel like you need to perfect and either learn more about the whole aspect of selling your art or how to get your art out there. Maybe you're somebody who wants to teach, not just take courses. That can be another way for you to kind of create that residual income to bring more of that in. But if you have that Taurus in you and you're going back and forth, I really feel like creating art is going to be, especially emotionally, it's like a big jump right now, but like that might be what's more fulfilling. Lots of anxiety with those cards, huh? especially if you've got a Taurus moon. If you're a Taurus and you have a Cancer moon, sometimes you get so comfortable in like the security of certain situations that this transit can be really, really, really wild for you, because there's like a lot of you doing things that you wouldn't usually do, but like, you know, respectfully, the transits really don't give a shit about that. They're just kind of like, we're flying by the seat of our pants. We just got to go, and we got to be creative, and we got to be free. Roll with that transit, because it can be actually quite life-changing for you. You can come into things that are amazing for you in the long run. Yeah. And you'll keep coming back to this. So just do it. Hopefully that was helpful. I'm sorry to hear your anxiety is wild. If you have like a lot of Cancer, Taurus in your chart, aromatherapy can be really helpful. Otherwise, you just end up eating your feelings. So watch out for that. That's coming from somebody who has a 2nd and a 4th house stellium, so I know how that works. Yeah, girl, the 2 years have been rough, but it's gonna get better. Hopefully that was helpful. Yeah, 9th house year, 10th house year, that really kind of opens everything up for you. I'm having a 9th house year this year, and I started taking some courses. So, and I'm also like wanting to like go back into like teaching courses. So 9th house years are actually really helpful, because that's when we kind of become more aware of the bigger picture, right? The 9th house deals with like luck and awareness and our connection to spirit. All right, those of you guys who are just tuning in, we're just doing some readings. We're doing 1 or 3 card readings, 1 for 20, 3 for 40. You can also check out my subscriptions below if you want to subscribe to my channel, because for what it costs to get a 3 card reading, it's around about the same to support my channel monthly. I eat all the feelings. Yeah. Cancer, Taurus, that's just, you know, that's just how it is. It's all about that security, you know? How do you know what year you're in? So you just want to look at your age. You can actually, something that I keep on my desk, because even as much as I use the annual perfections, I can never remember them. I remember them up through like, I think like 30 or 35. Just Google annual perfections chart, and you want to look at your age, and then you want to look at each house is going to be represented by a different age. So for example, like for my chart right now, I'm a Libra rising, and I have Aries on the 8th house cusp. I'm in an 8th house year. So 8th house is all the spooky things you have to deal with: death, sex, taxes, transitions, like rebirth periods, financial investment, stuff that deals with savings, inheritances, all of these things. So I look at when the sun goes through my my 8th house, and then I also look at when my 8th house ruler gets triggered. So anytime there's an aspect with Mars in transit, or to my natal Mars, or when planets go into my 8th house, things happen. And let me tell you guys, all of those things have happened this year. It's been a very wild year. So annual perfections can be a really accurate way of making predictions beyond just looking at transits. It definitely, point blank, like I can look at the transits throughout the year and narrow it down and go like, okay, this week this is supposed to happen, these couple days that's supposed to happen. It's been very spooky. And you can look back in time. You can go back and look at your annual perfections the last couple of years, and you'll go like, whoa, I wasn't even aware of it, and those things have happened. Usually 33 is a big year though, because it's a 10th house year. So a lot of maturing that happens that year. Job change stuff. Sometimes people become parents. Sometimes people get married. There can be like huge status changes where you get big raises at work, or you open a business. I'll leave it open for a couple more minutes if anybody else wants to get a reading. For people who are watching, those of you guys who are just watching and hanging out, that's cool too. If you guys are into my readings, you can also check out monthly not monthly, every week I'm doing a live video. So on Mondays, I usually am live. Unfortunately, this Monday I won't be live, but I'm going to record the video tomorrow, so it'll come up for you guys on Monday, where I talk about the astrology for the week, and if we have a new moon or a full moon or anything like that. Sometimes I pull some cards and I talk to you guys a little bit about what's coming for each of the 12 signs. It's kind of spooky accurate, or at least that's what I hear. And also we'll just talk about other transits and things that are going on throughout the week. And I've also got a podcast that I work on with the Peace Dealer. If you guys haven't seen the Midheaven podcast, we're doing some fun stuff together, so that's fun. Catherine, I'm so excited. I was just talking about you. I was like, man, like it really freaks me out because I couldn't figure out what was wrong between your birth information and what I told you. So I'm glad that you're back because I would like to rectify that situation. It drives me crazy. I've been thinking about it for 3 days. Will you? I'm so glad you made it. We've been playing internet tag, huh? Will you let me know? Do you want me to look at your chart, or would you prefer a tarot card reading? Let me know, because I know that some of the things that we talked about, like with the training, and like I know that you're recovering, totally made sense, but I think maybe there was something off about the transit, so let me know. Hi Lucas, nice to see you. Welcome back. Let me know, Catherine, otherwise I can answer a question for you with the cards. 5 of Pentacles. That card's been coming up for a lot of people. Lots of 5s today. I saw maybe, I wasn't sure if I got your time of, or your date of birth right or wrong. I know sometimes you guys do it different in Europe, but maybe I put it in wrong. Let me know. How's it going, guys? What's everybody doing tonight? It's Saturday. Okay, cool. What's your question? Was your question about the whole like recovery process, or did you have a different question? Gotta break this deck in. It's still new. Okay, time of birth. Oh, I did it right. Okay. All right, well, let me know. Because for some reason I was like, wait, did it not make sense what I put in? Did you go back and read it? Just let me know what your question would be and I'll pull the cards for you. Thanks for joining us, Lucas. Virgos are super busy right now. You guys are like so busy. Question is finances. Your body is getting there. Okay, let's take a look. So let's see what Catherine needs to know about finances. All right, let's keep an eye on this PayPal. Here we go. So Catherine's question is, she's just waking up. All right. So what does she need to know about finances? Being disappointed by not having support, feeling like you're having to go at things on your own, but not for long, actually. There is some support that is coming. 2 of Cups is a card that does talk about relationship, partnership, whether or not people can help you, whether or not you're getting what you need, whether or not you feel like you have a partner, a support. 8 of Cups can be kind of feeling bummed out and feeling like you don't have that person, not even to financially support you, but somebody who you can just talk to about some of the stuff, or being stressed out because you feel like somebody doesn't understand, or they're not listening, or they don't get it. Your crypto took a big hit, but it's still going up. Don't worry about crypto. Crypto's going to continue to keep just doing its thing. Eight of Cups coming up though is talking about like moving away from emotional situations where you don't feel support, you don't feel fulfilled. Notice that all of these are cups. This is about your emotions. Whether or not you feel like you have people who are there for you when you're feeling down and out, whether or not you feel like you have people who you can lean on and talk to when you're feeling like sad or when you're feeling depressed, walking away from situations where you're disappointed because you don't feel like you have people who can support you, but you've given support, like that's something you're moving away from. This can also be talking about like leaving somebody. So is it a guy? Oh, boyfriend lost the plot, drained me so stressed. Oh, okay, so it's about walking away from him then. So, you know, 8 of Cups and the King of Cups, what sign is he? Because 2 of Cups is saying like if you're walking away from something and you're letting something go, something new can come in. I see the King of Cups, it can be a water sign, so it can be a Pisces or it can be a Scorpio, or it can be a Cancer. But somebody else is going to pop in. Give it about 2 months. The other thing I would say is like it's about really making the decision to close the door on relationships where people just take from you, but they don't give back. And it's like realizing where emotionally you're not feeling fulfilled. So it seems like you're completing some kind of cycle in a sense of that. Somebody new can come in. If they do come in, I see them being somebody who will just ask you how you're doing or talking to you or giving you emotional support. And that's how that kind of connection will start. Taurus sun and Taurus is sun, so he's selfish. Okay, so Moon and Cancer. There's a lot of Taurus, Moon and Cancers going on. You guys are my favorite people. Especially because you have all that Uranus stuff that's happening right now. It's really waking you up, right? It's on your sun, but it's also making the sextile to your moon. So there's this emotional and physical change. Good combination. But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like, I mean, if he's a Taurus sun and Taurus rising, you know, the nodes are moving into Taurus, like eclipses are coming into Taurus, you're going to see somebody who's going to be more self-consumed, just naturally. That's just where his transits are going. So be more open to somebody new who's coming in, who's going to be a King of Cups, but only when you've really processed it, moved on. 8 weeks maybe that you're still working through this. But look for somebody who's going to show up and ask you how you're feeling, or ask you how you're doing. Like I see them caring about your well-being. Amazing guy, younger, no patience. A lot of it also depends on where his sun sits. Does his sun sit on his ascendant or is it in his 12th house? Usually a Cancer, Moon, Taurus, Sun, that's somebody who's very emotional, sensitive, caring, right? But that Taurus rising, it depends on where his Venus is. But yeah, they're going through lots of changes right now with their Uranus transit. They're acting up, acting differently. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if you meet that guy. Hey, King of Cups. See if there's anybody else. We call last call on the readings, and then I'm going to bounce, but I will be back next week. Actually, my video is going to come out, if not tomorrow night, Monday. Don't quote me on that. Probably Monday, but if I can get it out early for you, I will, because I'm going to record it in advance. And we'll be back next week. If you guys take a look at my schedule, I've been updating. I'm trying to update it in advance so you guys can see it. But next week, we're going to be back with astrology. So if you're here checking out and seeing what's going on with tarot, awesome. If you have a question about a transit or a natal chart aspect, one question offer, or we can do one question about synastry, join me next week. And I will be back doing these live. I'll do a pick a card reading for people who are watching. Throw you guys a bone. Let's we'll stick with this deck. This is a good deck. So I'm going to break this into 3 piles. Think about your question and whichever card you are most drawn to. Focus on that card. I'll give you guys a minute, and then I will give you a brief reading based off of the card that you select. Card 1, 2, or 3. Think about your question, and I'll give you some insight. These are general readings. If you want something more specific, check out my links below. Check out my social media, my website. All right, so think about your question. We've got pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, whichever one you're most drawn to. Starting with pile 1. Ace of Pentacles reversed. So you can be in a situation where you're questioning if you're going to lose something, someone, if finances aren't going to go through, if you're not going to get the job, if something's not going to happen, if something's not going to work. Realize that this is an ace. This can also be saying that there's a new beginning coming, it's just delayed. It's about moving away from focusing on just the physical thing, but whether or not it actually brings you stability. Does it really bring you health? Does it really bring you security? Is it actually going to be nourishing for you? If you're somebody who's been dealing with like health challenges or financial challenges, it's kind of saying like you need an opportunity to kind of push this open and flip it upside. This can also be internal challenges that are going on right now where you're starting to kind of weigh the options about what you value internally. If you're asking questions about whether or not you're going to get something, whether or not the money's going to come through, things like that, I see delays. Yeah, no extra money right now. Not for maybe about the better part of the next month. Card number 2 is King of Pentacles reversed. To me, that seems like somebody who can be feeling blocked with an earth sign, somebody who might be an earth sign, somebody who's getting frustrated also about whether or not they're seeing movement in finances. This is kind of feeling lack. This isn't lack. This is whether or not there's actual movement happening. Waiting on a delay on a job, waiting on a delay on an older man or a boss or a father figure, somebody who can also be kind of cold and harsh. Not necessarily you, but dealing with like a cold and harsh situation. King of Pentacles reverse can be all business and kind of lack that emotional capability of being able to connect. So you can feeling disconnected with someone. You can be in a situation where you're wanting to launch something or you're wanting to see something kind of expand within your career and there's a delay. It's saying don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on what's not working. Be mindful of what's going on with finances, what you're doing with finances, whether or not you're making good long-term decisions regarding your career, your health, or your finances, and to be mindful of that. And then the third card, the final card, is the Empress reversed. All of these are reversed. There's some funky energy going on right now. Part of it's, I think, just stuff that's going on at the full moon. A lot of things are still shaking out. There's a lot of aspects happening between Pluto and Saturn. So that's almost like the dam is kind of breaking, like, you know, now and in the next month, there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be happening. Empress reverse can be talking about whether or not you are feeling valued, worthy, beautiful, feeling like there might be a lack of a feminine energy in your life, a lack of a female energy in your life, having a challenging time with your mother, as a mother, with a woman. There can be some feelings of, am I being selfish? Am I not sharing? Am I not giving enough? Or they're not giving enough with me. They're not merging with me. Feeling blocked in a sense of femininity, feeling like there's a block that's going on with your ability to really expand into self-love, self-worth stuff, valuing yourself, spoiling yourself. To me, it seems like across the board, there's a lot of people that are like, I don't have enough, what's going on? And I think that's the aspects that we've been having to Saturn. The last 24, 48 hours astrologically has been really very Saturn-based, right? Moon conjunct Saturn, and then we had a full moon in opposition to Saturn. Now what's kind of happening, conjunct Saturn. Now what's kind of happening is we're going to start to see the silver lining with the Jupiter full moon. That's going to happen next month. It's going to take about a month for all of these energies to shift. I feel like card 3 is really talking about more so the feminine emotional aspects, the health aspects, negativity with women, trying to connect more to like a maternal energy. You can do that, but first it starts with yourself. All of these are internal cards. You guys are all dealing with things internally is what it seems like. And so there's a need to really kind of get that going, that shift happening internally before you see the shift happen out in the world. Good time to make changes, guys, especially over the next month with what's going on with some of these lunations. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. It makes it, easier for me to be able to connect with you guys on the interweb and share some of my insights with what I see coming with the astrology and with tarot. If you like my style, check out my links below. I'm happy to do a reading for you. Like I said, I've got some openings that are going to start at the end of August. And then for whatever reason, the fall usually gets pretty busy, right? It's always like, I feel like September through February is always a busy time. So I'm happy to read for those of you guys. Those of you guys who came back to view my channel and hang out with me tonight on a Saturday, thank you. It was nice seeing all of you. I look forward to working on your guys' video tomorrow and getting that out for you. So you can see all about the astrology of the week ahead. Catch me next week, and we're going to be doing readings for astrology. You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.